Okay, you can see that I go off on a tangent. This is what my PLC times would look like because I was that kid, the social butterfly on report cards, right? So when we talked The Bachelor or Housewives. So the next question is, how do we get down to the nitty gritty and everyone stays on topic during that PLC time, right? We're not, yes, we want to kiki a little bit about what's happening because it's our friends. When you're in a education space, those are your people, right? They're your Christmas card list people. So how do we stay on task? How do we have that overarching goal in mind rather than just saying Ryan's on a BIP? We got to talk about him for a second. Next in the check mark, right? Um, Mandy, I'm going to have you start us on this one. How do you keep everyone on task? Do you have like procedures like housekeeping at the beginning? How did that look like to set up?
Sure, yeah. So when we were planning, what these PLC meetings might look like, we didn't want to get too caught up in a whole bunch of forms and things that were going to be, wasting time with lots of typing and whatnot. But we did feel like we needed some sort of note catcher to keep us all on the same page. And we've got six elementary schools, so we wanted to be somewhat aligned with the practices we were doing. So we do have a note catcher, and our PLCs really revolve around like four guiding questions. What do we want our students to know? How will we know if they're learning it? What are we going to do if they're not learning it? And what are we going to do for those students who already know it? How are we going to extend their learning? And really, those four questions keep us on task. Because if you think about what do we want our students to know, that leads to standards and it leads to our curriculum. And how will we know if they're learning? Well, we're tracking their progress with their progress monitoring, our curriculum-based assessments. What are we doing differently? That's what we are doing maybe during our intervention blocks or differentiation within the classroom. And then for those students we already know it, who already know it, how are we enriching them? So just having those four guiding questions really kind of keeps us on track and focused. We do have a space in there. We always start out with some celebrations, just kind of what's going well this week. Sometimes it's really hard to pull out those celebrations, but we always find something. And then, at the end, we always just talk about like, what do you need moving forward? What are the supports that are needed? What are the barriers? How can we get around those? So between that and then having norms established, like the PLCs together, each one kind of developed. We gave like some guidelines of what norms might be, but we thought it was more important that the teams develop those norms together. And it really, I mean, they're they're operating like the professionals they are, and for the most part, I mean, everyone wants to get there and get to work because they know how important it is. So that's what has helped us.